There are a lot of dog facts that we've all heard and probably believe, but it turns out these 5 facts are actually totally false. Let's bark about it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a personal mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today we are debunking 5 commonly believed myths about dogs. Fortunately, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Pod, Dr. Ross.
Hey, guys.
Thank you so much for being here. I am stoked to talk about this subject. I, for one, was blown away, and I think our viewers will be too. So before we get into the 5 most commonly believed myths about dogs, what is one thing that you've heard as a vet that you're just like, why do people believe this? It's totally false.
One of the biggest ones is dogs that are eating grass means they're sick, which is, sometimes if they are eating grass, they can be sick, but dogs that are perfectly healthy eat grass all the time and are totally fine. So it's not just because they're eating grass that they're sick. You got to look at the whole picture. Are they vomiting? Do they have diarrhea? Are they lethargic? Dry or tacky mucous membranes? It's not just eating grass means they're sick. Eating grass can mean they're sick. We got to look at the full picture.
Got it. So even a healthy dog can eat grass. There's no cause for concern. Look at other symptoms.
Yeah.
Copy. Now, the first myth that we are debunking today is that when a dog wags its tail, it means he or she's happy. I always thought this was true, but apparently it could mean a whole bunch of things, right?
Yeah, the tail dogs don't speak, right? So their tail is a big part of their body language, and their tail can be straight up, it can be out and wagging, it can be down in between their legs. Tail movement does not necessarily mean they're happy. So again, have to look at the full picture and knowing that dog's way that it likes to communicate. The tail is up in the air, that tends to be more of like an excitement type of emotion. Or even sometimes dogs put their tail up when they want to be assertive or dominant, or saying like, hello, I'm here. So they can put their tail up. It can be wagging too, but if it's straight up, usually it's a sign of excitement. If it's more horizontal with their body and wagging, that can definitely mean they're happy. That's more of a neutral type emotion. But sometimes it's in between their legs and wagging too. But when it's in between their legs, they're generally scared or fearful, or sometimes guilty, and they think they did something wrong.
So when I come home and my dog's tail's wagging, can I assume that he's happy to see me, or could he be expressing other emotions?
No, he's probably happy to see you. Dog, that's like the dog's highlight of their day.
Good
when
answer.
Their owner comes home. Yeah.
Awesome.
But if you're taking them on a walk or to the park and there's new smells, new dogs, new things going on, and their tail's going crazy, you have to look at the full picture. If their hair standing up on the back of their neck, if their ear position is back or their ears are up, and look at more than just the tail to know whether or not it's a happy type of emotion that they're putting out there.
Okay, wow, this is fascinating. Now, myth number 2 is that dogs can only see in black and white. And apparently that is not true, but I personally have no idea what dogs can actually see. So can you explain that to us, Dr. Ross?
We have what's called trichromatic vision, meaning we have 3 different types of cone photoreceptor cells that see 3 different color wave spectrums, whereas dogs have dichromatic vision, meaning they have 2 types of cone photoreceptor cells. So their vision, they can see more than black and white. They see colors on a spectrum of blues and yellows. So their vision is actually very comparable to a person that is red-green colorblind. It's actually very funny because a lot of dog toys are red or green, and dogs can't really see those colors. So that's really marketing to us because we can see it. but the dogs can't. There have been lots of studies that have shown that dogs can readily tell the difference between blue and yellow, and so that can be a way to train them as well. But in terms of red and green, they cannot tell those colors apart.
So those colors, how do they appear to them? Is it just gray?
It's like, imagine if you looked at a rainbow, it would be a spectrum of yellow and blues instead of having the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. It would just go from like a yellow to a blue.
Interesting. This is like slightly off topic, but still relatable. If your dog is looking at a screen, like a TV screen, computer screen, phone screen, do those same colors translate for them, or is it different?
Well, they do, but again, they don't see reds or greens. So it's everything's going to be in a spectrum of, they can see black and white too, but yellows, blues, and the purples. So a lot of the other colors there, it's like if you've watched a black and white video, you can still see different shades of gray. So they can see that, of course, but then there's yellows and blues and all the shades added there as well.
Wow, that's wild. So my dog's favorite toy is like a little alligator, and it's green. And this whole time I'm like, oh, he's a gator fan. When in reality, he has no idea what color this toy is.
Well,
so that's a little
like
heartbreaking.
Yellow to him. He probably just sees it in like a scale of yellow rather than green.
Yeah. Wow, that's so crazy. Okay, this next one is also insane, probably the most mind-blowing one for me. So we've all heard this 1,000 times, or should I say 7,000 times, that one dog year is the equivalent of 7 human years. And apparently this isn't true.
It really depends on the breed. And sometimes, bigger dogs age much faster on average than smaller dogs. So a Great Dane has, on average, a much shorter lifespan than a Chihuahua or a Yorkie, for example. So usually the bigger the dog is, the shorter its lifespan. But different breeds have different life expectancies. I guess for an average dog, you could say it might be between 4 and 9 years is one human year. Other analogies that you can sometimes use is their first 3 years are kind of like our first 25 years. And then after that is every 3 years.
I don't like this. Oh, so 7 years, I guess, like at some point in time, someone decided this was like a general average, but it doesn't necessarily apply to every dog, every breed.
The statistics are pretty easily accessible on the internet. If you just looked up your own dog breed, my German Shepherd will have a life expectancy of what? Or my Dachshund, and you can find that information out pretty easily.
So why, in like plain terms that I think I and our viewers would understand, but why is it that bigger dogs have shorter lifespans? Like, do their organs just age faster, or what's going on there?
It's not really well understood. There are different diseases that certain breeds are predisposed to that can affect their life expectancy, such as different types of cancer, and certain dog breeds are more highly inbred. They can be more predisposed to certain heritable conditions that can affect their life expectancy. But that being said, like a Great Dane, I don't know why their average lifespan is like 6 to 8 years versus a Yorkie can be up to 12 to 16.
I'm like questioning my dog choice now. No, I'm kidding. I love him so much, but I want him to live forever. So number 4 on this list of myths is that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's mouth. I kind of knew that this wasn't true, but I didn't know that it was fact. So can you kind of like break that down for us, Dr. Ross?
Yeah, and this is as a veterinarian, one of the more frustrating things that I might hear from a client after I've just performed surgery, that they want to let their dog clean their wound with their tongue or their incision, and that's a big no-no, because their tongues are filled with bacteria. I mean, some dogs even eat poop. Like, how is that clean? So dogs eat stuff off the floor. They put toys in their mouth that have been outside. I mean, there are some enzymes in their mouth that can kill certain bacteria that we don't have. For example, the pH can be slightly different than our mouth, affecting which populations of bacteria live there. But by no means is it sterile. They don't brush their teeth in general. They have a ton of tartar, plaque buildup. They eat all sorts of things off the ground. They eat the trash. They eat sometimes their feces. So they lick their butts and their private parts. It's definitely not cleaner than our mouths by any means.
It's wild to me that we know that our dogs do all these things and we still let them lick us. Like some people let them lick just, their arms or whatever. And other people are like letting their dogs lick their mouths, their noses, and it's fine. So I think this myth was something that dog owners came up with to justify their disgusting behaviors with their dogs. Which, I mean, whatever. Do your thing. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, this last myth that we are debunking today is that dogs only understand tone and not words. But apparently dogs can understand words. Is that a thing?
Certainly, some dogs are very, very intelligent. Probably I can compare their intelligence, and this is just my own personal belief. I would say they're probably on the order of a 2 to 3 year old person. So some dogs can definitely understand words. You can say, have your hands behind your back, say it in the exact same tone. You can say sit or stay or lie down, roll over. And there are definitely dogs that can understand those commands. There are other dogs that can't and respond more to tone. But some dogs can have a very broad vocabulary and can certainly learn commands.
More than just commands. There's certain words that I can't even say around here without this one going crazy. So PARK, we have to spell out. Do we want to go on a W? Yeah. We can't we can't say these words fully because he'll lose it. So it's pretty true, I guess, that dogs can and do understand words. But it's funny because if you use a certain tone and you're like insulting your dog just jokingly and they're just like, thanks. It's funny. Is there anything else that any mind-blowing myths that you can think of or anything else that you want our viewers to know?
Another one that I commonly get asked is, so usually the dog will come in for whatever reason that I'm seeing them. And then the last question is, oh, and his nose is dry. That means he's sick, right? And again, you need to look at the full picture. So if they're dehydrated and they don't have enough hydration, then sure, a dry nose can be an indication. But their nose is usually wet from them licking their own nose or making it a moist nasal planum or moist epithelium that can help them smell things. But a dry nose by itself does definitely not mean they're sick. And some dogs can even have their nose, the epithelium or the layer on their nose can become dry, and that can be totally normal for them. So wow. A dry nose does not necessarily mean that they're sick.
Well, I've learned a lot today. So what I got is that these myths, well, they're not true, but a singular symptom or a singular fact does not 100% apply to your dog. There's a bunch of other factors. It's not black and white. You have to figure out what's going on with your dog. Why is your dog acting like this? All these different things. But in general, my mind is blown. And if you have any questions for Dr. Ross about myths that you want debunked, drop them down in the comment section below. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode, and we'll see you next time.